Thank you, everyone, and thank you for being with us here this afternoon for a very, very memorable occasion. I welcome you to Western Connecticut State University, and I welcome you to the O'Neill Center for what I know will be a most memorable, unforgettable occasion. This building we're in has good karma. Many happy memories circulate around it. Memories of athletic accomplishment that are signified by the banners that hang from the ceiling. Memories of exciting personal life transitions for the thousands of high school and college students who have participated in graduation exercises in this very building. Memories of relief from pain felt by more than 2,000 individuals who last March received free dental care in this building in the Mission of Mercy project. And of course, memories of inspiring talks by eloquent speakers, most recently by President Bill Clinton and by Western's good friend, UN Envoy of Peace, Dr. Jane Goodall. Today and tomorrow, we will add more memories to the teaching of one of the most respected and venerated human beings walking the face of the earth today. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso. We here at Western could not have organized this event without the collaboration and the help of our friends at DNKL, the Tibetan Buddhist Center for Universal Peace, which is located nearby in Redding, Connecticut. We've worked together. Give them a hand, too. They deserve it. We have worked together for more than a year. I think it seemed like many years to make this day possible. And so it's with true joy and anticipation that we both sincerely welcome you here today. Now, let me introduce to you two of our good DNKL friends. Lobsang Jampa Rinpoche, an internationally followed teacher who has spent many years at the Saramay Monastic University and who now resides at DNKL. And Geshe Lobsang Darge, the resident teacher at DNKL.
Thank you, President. Today, with joy beyond expressions, we welcome a hero of world peace, the Lord of compassion, the supreme jewel of spiritual letters, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Our center, Ngak Kunphen Ling-Tibetan Buddhist Center for Universal Peace, under the direction of Gyume Khyentse Rinpoche Lobsang Jampa, are so grateful for our collaborations with the Western Connecticut State University. There are no words to adequately express our appreciation to WestCon for this precious opportunity of His Holiness visit, which would be impossible without their kindness and support. Our journey began 2 years ago. We have collaborated with the WestCon community, President Shamater, faculty, staff, and students. They have really taken responsibility of working to benefit the social well-being and environment of our community and world. Inspired by this event, was sincerely believed that WestCon will continue encouraging the promote individual happiness and the world peace in the future. Today, there's someone with us who is very devoted to His Holiness Dalai Lama. Although we don't need an introduction to him, many of you are familiar with his great talent as an actor. I'm happy to present to you the authentic and humble friend of Tibet, Mr. Rijit Kare. Please.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. What a wonderful group of people here. I love seeing all these smiling faces, and that always seems to happen when His Holiness is around. Whenever I'm at an event with His Holiness, I'm struck by how much in common we all have, and how much we really are brothers and sisters, and deep from our hearts we start to feel that. And our motivation, obviously coming to a place like this, is not because everything is great inside of us and in our world, it's because we want to make it better. We're suffering, we want things to be better, we intuitively know things can be better in our world and inside of ourselves, so we look for a teacher, we look for wisdom, we look for compassion that is going to help us in that process. The 30 years I've known His Holiness the Dalai Lama, believe me, the help that I've gotten to remove some of that suffering and confusion has been pretty extraordinary. And it's never done, it's never completed. The problems with our families, with our marriages, with our work, with our careers, this is an ongoing process. But to feel that brother and sisterhood, that all of us are moving towards happiness and away from suffering, no matter how advanced we are or unadvanced, we're all in that together. It's a great equalizer. The opportunity to be with a completely reliable spiritual teacher is pretty extraordinary. So I rejoice for all of us today, and I'd like to welcome His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Thank you. Ah, really. Near the swing, near the corner. Wait. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Come. Oh, yeah. Good shake, yeah.
You can take that
Oh,
other
yeah.
shake.
Good shake. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Takare.
And now, I invite His Holiness to address the audience on the art of compassion.
Hello, sir. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay, thank you. Over here, light, not much problem. Sometimes you see a little bit dark hole and very strong light, then this kind of head is very, very helpful. Sit down. Please sit down. Sit down. And there, President of the university, and dear Richard Gere, and brothers and sisters. Indeed, I feel great honor to speak, I think mainly university students, and then some, I think, local people. Then there are many of my long-time friends, Thurman, your wife, and Kasadi, a Swiss Kasadi center.
George Dreyfus.
And many other are there.
Mickey Limley.
William Pajot Kasadi, and Serbut.
Lao.
Gupsing.
And then Danny Gorman.
Dan Gorman, and your wife. And perhaps some others also, maybe. So, in any way, I really feel some kind of reunion. I think this time, one reunion, my both eyes now very sharp, very clear, because February, this left eye, the cataract removed. Then this eye, July, this also cataract removed. So now I can see my friend's face very clearly, very, very clearly. Then sometimes my friend, I very, very clear. So you see, immediately you see attract wrinkles there. So you see, some people seems a little uncomfortable. I think seems like that. So after this, I operated. One BBC interview, one lady, she told me, before also she had some sort of interview. So then I told about my surgery, these things. And I told her, this eye now can see your
wrinkles.
This cannot see. Then she responded, oh, then she preferred this eye. Quite fun. So in any way, very happy. Basically, as Rijagir mentioned, my sort of fundamental belief is we are same human being. No need introduction. Right? As soon as we meet someone, that's another human being. Physically, mentally, emotionally, same. Then me personally, that kind of sort of attitude is very helpful. When I give talk, 1,000, or several thousand, or 10,000, or even 100,000, I always have the feeling, we are same. So when I talk to one individual or talk to 100,000, no differences, because we are same. That really, as they remove barrier. If I sort of stress, I'm Tibetan, I'm Buddhist, then I think furthermore, I'm 14th Dalai Lama. that kind of feeling automatically distance yourself. At the concept of I and they. If I look you as a human brothers, sisters, no barrier. I'm one of you. So that really brings in my mind relax. If I sort of stress, myself something different than other, something sort of important, then that automatically brings some kind of little anxiety or nervousness.
Nervousness.
And also you see that sometimes you see bring because of pretension, pretense. Oh, I'm holy. Isn't it? Then that also sometimes brings the practice of hypocrisy. Isn't it? So these not only bring some uncomfortable, the speaker or myself, that also great sort of barrier to develop trust. If you remain distant from others, then difficult to develop trust. And also, you see, you cannot act transparently. Then difficult to develop trust. Trust is the basis of friendship. Without trust, remain distance, impossible to develop friendship. So therefore, me personally also, you see this, is to consider oneness of humanity. Then global level, I always telling people, now time come, we must develop sort of sincere sort of belief or conviction, oneness of humanity. And think about the well-being of humanity, not my group, their group, not that way. In ancient time, people remain isolated. Then more or less self-sufficient. So then at that time, okay, too much emphasis, my community, my nation, okay. Now today, no longer that. The reality, because of the population, because of the certain sort of today, easier communication, and global economy, all these really changed our reality. East need West, West need East. Western sort of today comfort depend on East. East sort of development also is depend on the West, and South and North like that. So that's the reality. Then global warming, ecology problem. There's no big differences of national boundary. So we need sort of make awareness. 7 billion human beings should know we are same human being. We are same human being on same planet. Everybody wants happy life. Do not want suffering. Do not want problem. Now here, if we look at the human level and recognize, just like me, they also want happy life. Do not want problem. Once you have strong sort of conviction about that, then you will not create problem others. As soon as genuine sense of concern of others' well-being there, then no basis of cheating, telling lie, or exploitation, or bully. No, because you respect them, because you love them, because you take serious concern about their well-being. If they are success, feel happy. Otherwise, you develop jealousy. Jealousy brings distrust. Distrust destroys a friendship. More distrust eventually brings fear. Fear eventually brings, lonely feeling, distrust. And on human level, hardly, no barrier. On human level, fundamental level, no causes of fighting or create problem. Most of our problem which we are facing, of course, due to nature disaster and drought, where too much flood, or these things, or tsunami like this, I think indirectly some sort of connection, our behavior, according to scientists, they say. But generally, these are nature disasters, so beyond our control. But most of the problem which we are facing is our own creation. These problems created not basis on the level of humanity, same humanity, or oneness of humanity, but rather secondary level differences. My nation, their nation, my religious faith, their faith. Even religion also then causing divisions. Even one family, because of different faith, some sort of divisions. So if we emphasize oneness of human level, no causes these divisions. Then faith, nationality, race, these are more or less individual things, individual cases, like that. So I think we need now everybody is really, want peaceful life, peaceful society, and safe society. Peaceful, safe will not come through economic development or more weapon, no. Peaceful society entirely depend on inner peace. Through inner peace, genuine peace. I think firstly, in the family level or individual level, constant fear, frustration, anger. With that, how can achieve happy day and night? You may be billionaire, materially very rich, all facilities there, but within his or herself, full of anger, full of suspicion, full of jealousy. How can develop inner peace? So a person, that kind of too much disturbed mind, in their family, rest of the family member also suffer, difficult. So, other hand, individual level, develop inner peace, and that automatically create some kind of atmosphere, peaceful atmosphere in the family. Materially, maybe not very rich, but very happy, full of trust, genuine human friendship. Then, how to develop inner peace? Through prayer. I think individual case, sometimes it helps, but if we put all our hope to prayer, that's unrealistic. we must make effort by ourselves. Prayer, some sort of today.
Some addition, some complement.
I believe more on action rather than pray. Of course, as a Buddhist monk, in my daily life, at least you see 4 or 5 hours, you see some prayers, some sort of contemplation, and mainly analytical meditation. A prayer also part of my sort of practice, daily practice. But I believe action is more important. So these prayers should translate into action, like that. So therefore, the real peace not come through prayer alone. Then also, I say simple meditation. These days, the people quite familiar meditation. Meditation means close eyes and then they complete sort of relax your mind not working. That kind of meditation not much good, not much benefit. I think it is much better. Remain our mind full alert and seeing things, meantime analyze these things. For example, suffering. Analyze the nature of the suffering. 2 ways. One, penetrate about that suffering. One, more holistic. Try to see that problem through different dimension or from distance. That way, the same problem then becoming not that much kasota, striking.
Unbearable.
Unbearable. So, as I mentioned earlier, for me, analytical meditation, analyze yourself, analyze the nature of the problem, and analyze the causes of that problem and the possible consequences of that because of the problem. These are the proper way to tackle problem. Through that way, develop inner self-confidence, inner strength. That brings inner peace. So inner peace not come through prayer or simple meditation, but inner peace, you see, can develop, utilize our intelligence fully. Then inner strength come. So this is not necessarily religious matter. Common people, even non-believer, even those people who totally against religious tradition, religious faith, okay. But they also want a happy life. They also want inner peace. So think these lines. So emotions create trouble in our mind. They, you see, the controls of the emotion.
Regulate.
Ah.
The regulating factor.
Regulating emotion through our intelligence. Now, for example, when due to certain cause, say anger, irritation, anger about to come, then intelligence use, look, if I let anger further
take over.
And then what benefit? Any help to solve the problem? No. Anger only creates my own uncomfortable feeling. Eventually, ruin our own physical health. Even you want to hit something to someone, without anger, calm mind, analyze the situation, should investigate the reality and find out their weak spot where weak spot, then hit. Without anger, too much anger, oh, you almost become like drunk, right?
Agitated.
Agitated, almost become mad. So then you may not know, even you hit, maybe wrong place. Some people, full anger, it's difficult to harm that object, then harm himself or herself. Sometimes it happens, isn't it? So therefore, calm mind, with help of intelligence, short-term, long-term sort of consequences. Then, once you realize no anger, no help, it's only disturb your own peace of mind, no help to solve that problem, and eventually ruin my own physical health, immediately ruin your good sleep. Then, you see, the anger gradually reduce its intensity. So the changing emotion, not through prayer, but use our intelligence. So therefore, in order to in order to use our intelligence, control about our emotion fully, we have to know more about the system of the mind or emotions. Then the way or approach tackle this destructive emotion. So I think I firmly believe our existing education, modern education system is very much oriented about material value and simply external physical comfort, not adequate information about dealing with our mind or emotion. So, now since some time back, with scientists, with educationists, and social workers, we have sort of a serious discussion how to introduce in modern education system some lesson about emotions, about mind, as an academic subject. Like we study hygiene for physical, so some kind of similar hygiene of our emotions, our mind. So sometimes our scientific sort of meetings, sometimes we call healthy body, healthy mind. So we very much sort of involve healthy body, regarding healthy body. Now we must add healthy mind, not talking about religion, not talking about heaven, not talking about the next life. Simply how to build happy individual, happy society, happy family. So I think within next 1 year, next year, perhaps I think we may develop some rough idea how to introduce in modern education system from kindergarten up to university level, some sort of lesson for education about mind, about emotion. Since most of the school secular sort of way, so that must be secular way. It is very easy. These things, basically, biological factor, sense of compassion, sense of affection, is biological factor. And everybody, we born from our mother. We survived by mother's sort of tremendous sort of affection, take care. So I think here, this whole, those people who received maximum affection at the time of child, young child, early age. I think in deep insight, much sort of peace, and less sense of insecurity. Those individuals who at that age lacking affection from our mother, and in some cases worst thing is abuse or sort of tradition. Abandoned. Then these outwardly may be very successful life, but deep inside, some sense of insecurity. With that, difficult to trust other. Always cautious, distance. So that kind of sort of the nature is biological factor. Even dogs, cats, birds, also like that. So therefore, firstly, these are biological factor. Then use our intelligence. Some of these emotions, pros and cons are there.
There are pros and cons.
Through that way. So that's the purely the academic or secular way. So I must sort of make clear the secularism. This is some my friend, some Muslim friend, some Christian friend. They have some kind of reservation. The word of secularism. Secular. You see, they feel secular, means some sort of negative attitude towards religions. But according to Indian understanding about secular is, no, respect all religions, all faith. No preference, this religion or that religion. And also the Indian understanding about a secular means also respect non-believer. One time my Indian friend, the former Prime Minister of Indian government, Mr. Advani, he wants to see our casual talk. He mentioned to me, in India, I think 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Since then, you see, one Indian sort of the school of thought, Charvaka, Tyangmemba, Charvaka. So he mentioned that school of thought is consider nihilism, denying any value of spirituality, or denying existence of God or heaven or next life, all these things. So they consider it is nihilism. So the rest of Indian school of thought argue that, sometimes condemn that, but meantime, people who hold that view refer rishi. Rishi means sage. So it's a respect. Nihilist people also, you see, respect nihilist people's sort of views, or they are right, like that. So therefore, according to Indian understanding about the
word secular,
word secular, not at all, does not mean negative towards religion, respect, and also respect non-believer. So I think world as one entity, one world, naturally, it becomes multi-religious humanity. So if we sort of emphasis moral ethics should be based on religion, then next question, what religion? Theistic religion, non-theistic religion? Within theistic religion, there are differences. Non-theistic religion, also there are differences. So then more complicated things there, complication there. So I think, like India itself, when independent sort of India is established, the constitution based on secularism, because India, multi-religious community, 1,000 years. So therefore, it is realistic, sort of say.
Appropriate. It's appropriate.
Appropriate, like that. So we need, like this university, I think it should have some sort of a program teaching the secular ethics. I'm very glad to see some of the small sort of the Buddhist institution here. You see, they already involved. That's very good. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. Of course, nowadays in America and also Europe, traditionally non-Buddhist country. So therefore, I always stress the people from different religious faith must keep their own traditional faith. It's much safer, much stable. Change religion sometimes create more confusion. However, these small centers, since all major religious traditions, the common practice there, practice of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, so self-contentment, contentment, and self-discipline. So these are all major religious traditions. You should teach these principles, all same, except they use different way of approach, different method, different philosophical view. Some say there is creator, so we must follow creator's sort of wish. Since we ourselves, you see, created by God. God means infinite love. So we also, you see, the nature, the loving kindness already there, part of our nature. So we must sort of sustain these things and further increase. And then non-theistic religion uses the reason, happiness, suffering due to its own causes, certain sort of action. So any action harming other, causing suffering. Any action brings some benefit other, you get benefit. So that sort of concept, law of causality, you see, that sort of view, that way of approach, strengthening practice of love, compassion. So it's a different method, same goal. So therefore, you see some dialogue, immense help, you see, to enrich one's own tradition. I had some genuine sort of spiritual brothers, sisters, very close friends, some Christian monks, some Christian nuns, and also some Muslims, some Jews. They told me, after sort of more acquaintance with the Buddhist sort of the practitioner, they already sort of adopt some sort of Buddhist technique in order to increase the practice of patience or practice of forgiveness, these things. Because this is common practice. And Father
Father Lawrence.
Lawrence Mare.
Father.
Oh.
Keating.
Mare. Now I forget to say. One Catholic father is a very wonderful person. Now he no more. He passed away. He also.
Tom Sylvester. England you with.
England Mare. America. Anyway, okay. Since I'm older than him, so some of my friend, he doesn't know. So one day he asked me questions or
Brother Wayne.
inquired.
Brother Wayne.
Brother Wayne, yes, Brother Wayne. Yes, we usually used to discuss about how to meditate, how to sort of practice for forgiveness, these things. That's okay. One day he asked me about absence of independence, existence, or shunyata, emptiness. Then I told him, oh, this is not your business. This is something unique about Buddhist practice. So don't ask these things. Because I felt, if you see, the thinking these things, it might be harmful. His sort of single-pointed faith towards God, absolute, independent. So I think each different religious tradition, some unique things there. Meantime, as I mentioned earlier, many common practice there. So we can learn through our sort of discussion or dialogue like that. Then also in secular sort of,
Field.
Secular field, simply not as a Buddhist religion, but rather sort of academic subject. Usually I call Buddhist psychology. I think some of my friends already knows. You see, they're quite detailed explanation, identify different emotions, different minds, and its sort of causes and the conditions. These quite detailed sort of explanation there. So these take as an academic subject, like I think Buddhist psychology. Right? That I think you see can be learned from Buddhist scholars. Not as a sort of part of Buddhist religion. I usually used to make distinction. Buddhist science, Buddhist science already. I think in Buddhist literature, actually, you see, we can divide 3 parts. Science, there, because of the external matters, and that field, modern scientists, much more advanced with help of instrument of these things. Then, science of mind. Here, Buddhism, like many ancient Indian tradition, much advanced. And Western, science of mind, very sort of beginning. So here, I think Buddhist sort of science of mind can make some significant contribution in science field. Then philosophy. There are also, like quantum physics, you see, based on quantum physics, is a Buddhist sort of philosophical sort of view is interdependency. That kind of sort of concept also is quite helpful. That concept has come from Buddhist literature, but it can applicable, right? Environmental issue, global economy issue, even health issue, and everywhere, you see the concept of interdependency. You see, that concept very helpful to develop holistic view. Many unnecessary problems due to our approach, unrealistic approach. Unrealistic approach usually happen because lack of knowledge about the reality or object or the method. So without knowing the reality, then our effort, no matter how sincere motivation and a sincere goal, method become unrealistic, then through unrealistic approach always result disaster. So in order to carry a realistic approach, we must have fuller knowledge about the reality. In order to know the reality, we must have holistic view. Otherwise, you can't see the reality fully. So the concept of interdependency is very, very helpful to develop more holistic sort of views. So therefore, you see, these philosophical views also, you see, in world affairs or mundane
World affairs.
World affair, you see, some I think are relevant. Then Buddhist religion is Buddhist. Nothing to do with other religions, like that. So therefore, so that is the art of happiness.
Compassion.
Happiness very much depends on inner peace. Inner peace very much related with warm-heartedness. So that's the way, you see, how to transform our disturbed mind. Too much anxiety, too much worry, transform more calm mind. So that's the way. So these are not through prayer, not through simple meditation, but use our intelligence maximum way. Clear? Thank you. Now questions. Some question now, question. Sit. No, didn't. Thank you. Didn't. Yes.
Hi, I'm Alexis Koukas, an honors program student here at Western. My question for His Holiness is, what one condition in the world harms all of humanity the most, and how can we address that one condition to make a better world for all?
I think quite easy. You see, nobody wants trouble. Nobody wants a problem. But many problems are our own creation. So nobody deliberately creates problem. So answer is ignorance. Ignorance is the most destructive element, like that. So therefore, in human history, eventually, we really pay much attention about the importance of education. Now we further, as I mentioned earlier, we further sort of develop the existing education system more holistic, not only care of material and physical comfort, but also mental comfort. In order to reduce ignorance. That's my view. Okay, what do you think?
Hello there, I'm Brian Fisher. I'm a biology student at Western. What is one simple thing we can do every day to express our compassion for humanity?
Namju dance kasordati.
그 쥐어받지 않는다. 쥐어받지 해야 돼.
I think so sometimes I also used to feel when we look problem on global level, so many problems. Then just the other day at MIT University, you see, we have some meeting,
Panel discussion.
panel discussion, some sort of experts, really genuine experts in different fields, environment, economy, and food, and many, many fields. So they all, one way they make clear presentation, the problem. At the same time, they also, you see, indicated there is a way to at least reduce this problem. Then all directly or indirectly, ultimately related with motivation, sense of concern of others' well-being. Many of these problems related with extreme self-centered attitude. So now, you see, change these things. Who should start? Individual person. Not government, not religious leader, not United Nations, but each of us. This must create, as I mentioned earlier, out of awareness, try to develop inner peace, inner compassion, sense of concern of others' well. That from one person to 10 person, share your friend. Share your friend. 10 person, 100 person, or 1,000. That's the way. So I think any sort of movement among humanity, the initiative must start from individual. After all, society means combination of individual. So should not feel helpless. And then you yourself, you see, practice or implement these things. And firstly, more sort of knowledge, study, and the system of the mind or emotions. Then, you see, you practice that, and then share more people. I think that's the best way. And meantime, the day-to-day life, I think among your neighbor or those weaker people, weaker family, some help. And even among students, it's those students who sort of they study a little bit behind. Help them, step by step.
So what you need to do is to immediately look around and see where you can make a difference and then start helping from there.
So otherwise, I don't know. Next.
Hello, my name is Emily Freund, and I'm an elementary education major here at Western. How do you feel about the greed that capitalism has created, and what can we do to encourage a more compassionate corporate climate?
I don't know. You should think more. Greed, greed. I think unless you see you develop some kind of sense of concern of others' well-being, the respect sort of their right, then there are so many poor people. northern world, southern world, big gap. Northern world, industrialized nations. Now recent years, some problems. Basically, you see the surplus there. The southern world, same human being, same right to lead happy life, but even basic necessity not adequate. And not only global level, but also national level, you see these, the gap, rich and poor. Even the United States here also. So therefore, you see, once you develop sense of concern of that, then your sort of luxurious life automatically, you see, develop some kind of sense of contentment.
Restraint. Sense of restraint.
Restraint. So that's the way to reduce greed, and also knowing limitation of material value. Look, some of the billionaires, very rich, but as an individual person, unhappy person. So that's, I think, more effective way. Unless some change here, the system, we can't blame system. Look, socialist countries, too much greed there. Now socialism is just a word. However, I think basically I have more attraction towards Marxist economy, because you see, Marxist economy, his emphasis, the equal distribution, not just to make profit or money, rather equal distribution. So some moral ethics there. So therefore, I usually describe, as far as socio-economic theory is concerned, I am Marxist. Still I am Marxist. In any way, I found some Indian Buddhist monk, economic theory is concerned Marxist. And also I found some Sri Lankan Buddhist monk, also you see have sort of same sort of views. But should not mistake, since believe Marxism, also believe Leninism. No, I always make distinction. Marxism, good. Leninism, bad. Too much sort of authoritarian sort of practice, power. That's, I think, actually ruined genuine, honest Marxism. I feel like that. So therefore, we must make distinction. Original Marxism, they are good things. Actually, when the Eastern European countries get freedom, I had opportunity to visit then Czechoslovakia. President Havel invited me. So almost, I think, since they become independence, President Havel become president, I think among foreign guests, I think most probably I'm the first person. So at that time, I expressed, now you have the opportunity, some kind of synthesized economic system. Keep some of the socialist sort of idle things, keep there. Meantime, some capitalist dynamic things.
Market economy. Market economy.
Market economy. So this is now time. You have the opportunity to create some kind of synthesize of some new economic sort of theory or system. Like that.
Hi, I'm Mike Bosco. I'm a creative writing major here at Western. My question is, with the recent advances of science, what role do you see religion playing for humanity in the future?
I think it is major religious tradition last at least around 2,000 years past, I think serve humanity, and present also, and future also. I think these major religious traditions will remain. The number may be sometimes a little higher, sometimes lower. I can go like that, go. Then so I think basically a human being, 7 billion human being. One time is my scientist friend Kasati. There's something else.
Bob Livingston, right? Bob Livingston.
Bob Livingston. Oh. Once he told in our meeting, then 6 billion human population. So he mentioned 6 billion human beings have 6 billion different visions,
Perception of the world.
Different perception of the world. It is true. It's a different mental disposition. So different views. So I often used to telling, within Buddha's own disciple, you see, there are different mental dispositions. Therefore, Buddha taught, you see, different philosophical views. The philosophy itself, contradictory philosophy. So sometimes I jokingly telling, with respect to Buddha, these contradictory philosophy taught by same teacher, Buddha, not due to his own confusion. One day he feel this, the next day different view and tell different view, different philosophy. No. Or he deliberately tried to create more confusion among his follower. No. Then answer is, he teach according different mental disposition of each individual. So you see, he taught, you see, different views according their, the necessity or suitability, like that. So that we learn immense help to understand different sort of variety of religious philosophical views. Some say creator, some say no creator. Doesn't matter. So long, all have the same potential to bring inner peace. Good. Reduce self-centered attitude. This strong, single-pointed faith towards God, Creator, that really reduce. With that faith, you see, you totally submit to God, Creator. That immense help to reduce self-centered arrogance. Buddhists use the method, no such independent self. So different way of approach, but same target, reduce self-centered arrogance. So I think different religious tradition will remain. Those religious tradition who have philosophical sort of teaching.
Views.
The baggage.
Those major traditions which have philosophical views as their underpinnings and support will continue to remain.
That's my view. Next question.
Hi, my name is Amanda Rivera. I'm a senior here at Western. We teach children to be kind, caring, and compassionate toward people. How then do we teach adults to stop fighting around the world?
我是不做了呀，你现在了这个结果的，全部结果是就家里个表嘛是哪个的吧？他根本做了呀，咱们的拿了，他跑出家里马就去那边他别干的了。
I think elder generation, usually I make distinction, generation who belongs 20th century and generation who belongs 21st century. I think my generation and some of these people whose age above 50, 50s, 60s, we belong to the 20th century. So I think it's difficult to change my generation's sort of mind, some way fixed. so difficult. I mean, you see, the generation who brought up existing education system and way of life always talk dollar, dollar, dollar. Much sort of relying on advertising.
Advertisement.
And too much competition, sense of competition. I think it's difficult to change these things. But our younger generation who belongs to the 21st century, that means mainly those people whose age below 30, 20, 15, 10. I think if we properly educate them, I think within this century, perhaps I think or humanity or people who may sort of have different way of life, different way of culture, different way of thinking. So it is difficult to teach individual or group of people from sort of teachers or teaching education system, education field. So year by year, educate and make familiarize. Then I think there is a real sort of possibility. Way of thinking change, way of life will change. The society can be much friendly society with the firm conviction we are social animal. My happiness come from others' well-being. Others' happiness is my happiness. Or beginning of this, I think April, May, I was in Hawaii. So Hawaii native people, they have one saying, your blood is my blood. Your bone is my bone. So that means your happiness is my happiness. Your suffering is my suffering. I think traditionally, small community, their life heavily interdependent. There are such sort of circumstances, it creates that kind of sort of
expression, way of thinking.
Way of thinking. Now in modern time, especially like in New York or San Francisco or Los Angeles, too many people. If you look this side, too much competition. Look this side, too much competition. Then you also have to make competition. So I think these are worldwide movement. Through education, I think possible. Usually I describe 20th century becomes century of bloodshed, century of violence. Although that century, I think a very important sort of human history, century of human history. I think a lot of sort of development or innovation in science and technology and these things. But however, you see that century becomes century of bloodshed. So now this century should be century of dialogue, because peace does not mean no longer any problem. The problem there. So only the method change when we face problem, not using force, but using dialogue. Through that way, solving the problem. So in order to create peaceful century, we must develop spirit of dialogue. For that, we need political will and holistic. So you see, I think the younger generation, the generation who belongs to the 21st century, should think more how to build peaceful world, ultimately compassionate world. compassion means sense of concern of others' well-being. That really become part of each individual's life. Then no possibility of violence. Then I think true socialism can achieve without suppress individual freedom. Voluntarily. And these also, not, voluntarily so they develop these things, not, some mysterious sort of future, hell, heaven, or next life. Not that. Day-to-day life. More peaceful, happy day-to-day life. The compassionate world, compassionate century is something very, very relevant. With that, voluntarily make effort to bring compassionate world. So this younger generation should think, should have vision like that. I think there is possibility. 21st century, only 11 years, almost 11 years.
Almost 12 years.
Almost
12 years.
Almost 12 years was passed. Over 88. 88. Almost 88 years is yet to come. So, logically, future is in our hand. Future depends on present. Past is past. We can only learn, experience. Otherwise, nobody can change past history, past event. So only future, still open. Like space, you can move different way. So should have vision. So compassionate world, then the violence or military forces, not much relevant. Maybe some few mischievous people still remain, so some kind of the mobile force. That also not belongs to individual nations, but regional basis. Some problems there, and use that. Basically, demilitarize the world. I think possible. So therefore, this is not my generation's responsibility. Our responsibility is to create more problems here and there. So now, this younger generation who belongs to the 21st century, now you have to solve this problem. Next question.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Sheldon Poole, a political science major here at Western Connecticut State University. I was wondering, as someone who meets with world leaders, what advice or wisdom on compassion are you sharing with them towards alleviating all of the world's problems?
What?
Advice can
Yes, I have many opportunity meeting with religious leaders, political leaders, and different kind of leaders. But I never try to lecture on them. Just sit and then listen, and just to say some sort of
conversation.
Sort of casual sort of conversation. Then sometimes I remember one occasion, Sweden. I think Prime Minister, Sweden, some time back, we had breakfast meeting. So as soon as we sat, he told me about a certain sort of the problem, including Tibetan problems. These things he already sort of discussed with his foreign minister. Then he wanted to discuss about spirituality, how to, you see, they carry some meditations or some kind of sort of, what's the training of mind. So whole our meeting is just spiritual discussions. So there are such people. And also, many cases in India, many sort of journalists, sometimes with uniform, military uniform. But actually our discussion, mainly spirituality, how to create peace of mind, the inner peace. So if someone asks me, then of course, according to my own sort of experience and knowledge, I discuss like that. So, and then next question. Next question? No, next.
I'm Michelle Bishop. I'm a senior at WestCon, and my question is, how do we stay involved without becoming cynical so we can influence a more compassionate and inclusive government, not just in this country, but in the world as a whole?
I think this kind of attitude due to lack of vision and also lack of determination. I think vision and some kind of sort of awareness, possibility, then build willpower, determination. So, so I think through education, I think the American sort of student may be, I think, useful to get more awareness or information about other countries. In the past, some occasion, I sort of noticed the people or student not adequate knowledge about other countries, particularly those difficult areas. Then although you have all the facility, comparatively very good, but then some frustrations or something like that. Once you know the many sort of difficult countries, then I think you may sort of appreciate your own sort of country's sort of condition and may develop some kind of desire to help them. That also is depend on the oneness of humanity. And then, see, you cannot sort of bear these sort of big sort of differences. So therefore, I think more knowledge, more information about those unfortunate sort of nations or countries or continents like that, that also may be helpful. I don't know. Like that.
Your Holiness, thank you so much for those inspiring and wise words. We will hold them all in our heart. And I believe you've actually also provided an agenda for my faculty's next curriculum committee meeting. For those of you who will be back with us tomorrow, we look forward to seeing you. For those who were just here for this afternoon, we hope you are taking away many, many warm memories of our time together with His Holiness. Thank you all for coming. Have a safe journey home.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. धन्यवाद, विश्वास। तुझे से आ